Okay. Well, looks good, so let's start. Alright, so I think we're live. It's saying that it's experiencing bad bitrate, but it looks okay to me. I don't know. Let me know if you're in here in the comments. Let me know. Let me just mute that so there's no echo. And let me know how it looks. I mean, it looks good on my side. I don't know if it looks good for the rest of you, but hopefully it does. We'll see who's in the chat now. By the way, well, oh, no, never mind. Hey, do you ship to the EU? No, sorry, unfortunately we do not. We only ship to the United States. And, but thanks for checking out the live stream. What's up, Angelic? I don't think the live stream starts for 5 more minutes. Yeah, just started. We're, I think, a minute late or so. What's going on, Naturally Lochi? Thanks for checking out the stream. Lee and Mandy, first time here. Well, welcome. Hopefully you enjoy it. What's up, Lewis? Looks cool. Lori says, I hear you. Looks fine. Hey, Shrimp Life, what's going on? Oh, wait. Wait, why can I hear myself? Oh, hold on. That's not good. There we go. Sorry, if there was an echo, I apologize. I think I fixed it. Sounds good. Looks good. Sup? Alright, so I guess it's good. How's everybody doing? So, in today's live stream, I just kind of wanted to go over aquarium plant questions, anything that you may have. That's kind of what we're going to focus on. I did want to update everybody, though, on the website. We, a couple weeks ago, we introduced a lower shipping or free shipping threshold. So now any order over $30 is free shipping. So that's really good. It used to be $80, so we dropped it by $50. We also decreased our shipping price from $9.50 to $5. So I think it's a very good price for shipping. And we also include heat packs and cold packs now for free, no cost to the customer. We used to have to charge, but I worked it out so we don't have to. So that's cool. So just those little updates. If you want to pick up aquarium plants, you can visit our website, h2oplants.com, and check them out. So let's see. What's up, Lewis? How am I doing today? I'm doing quite well, actually. Today was a decent day. We actually got a, this morning I had to stay home in the morning because we had a screen door put on our front door. So Margaret's been wanting that for a while, and yeah. So I was waiting here for them to install that, and that went well. Looks good now. Let's see. Hit that like button, Dennis says. Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate it. Naturally says, some evil persons hit the dislike button. How dare they? I know, right? That just means we need more likes than if they hit the dislike button. I appreciate it, guys. I just set up my first planted tank ever. Should I add root tabs straight away? Lee and Mandy asked. Well, that really comes down to the kind of substrate you have. If you have sand or gravel, yes, add in root tabs right away. That would definitely give your plants a boost. If you have a good substrate, say like aqua soil or like contra soil, we sell contra soil, or like fluval stratum or tropica soil, all those have a nutrient content, so you don't need to put root tabs in there right away. Root tabs you could add in like 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line. That's when the root tabs start to actually, or the soil starts to lose its integrity, basically. They hit the button even before the stream started. Damn, those are some haters. We got some haters. Actually, that's something that I want to address too later on in the stream. We'll wait towards the end of the stream to talk about that. But we had some haters recently. Gotta get on that. Let's see. How to quarantine plants? How long? Well, Mark, quarantine plants basically. Well, it really depends what you're quarantining for. So if you're worried about snails more than anything else, I would say a week is all you'd have to kind of quarantine them for. The snail eggs should hatch within the week. If there's any snail eggs or any visible snails, then you'll be able to see them. If you're worried about algae, that could actually take several weeks to form. So it really depends. If you're not worried about algae because you say, oh, you know what, I can deal with algae, I'll figure out how to get rid of it, not a big deal, that's fine. If you're worried about snails, a week or so, after a week, you'll be able to see if there's any snails, and then boom, there you go. Any experience, and how to quarantine plants too. I apologize, I missed that first part. How to quarantine, ideally if you have a separate like 10-gallon tank, or even like a little bucket. If you have like a little like almost like a plastic container of some sort, stick them in water, stick the plants in there, put a light over them. I mean, it could be like a little desk lamp because it's going to be so shallow that they'll be able to grow just fine. So that's another way to quarantine. You could also do dips if you want, but you specifically asked for quarantine, so I imagine you're talking about putting the plants outside the aquarium for right now and letting them kind of go through to see what happens. Any experience with Rotala Walichi? Mine goes through rough phases for no reason at all. I have highlight and CO2. I wouldn't say rough stages. You're probably just not trimming enough. I would just, that plant needs to be trimmed constantly. Just constantly trim it, replant the tops. And also dose nutrients. It may be growing too fast where it's absorbing the nutrients and running out of steam. And then maybe dying back. I'm not quite sure what you mean through rough phases, but I can imagine that that's what it is. I'm going to my first swap meet. Awesome. What is the best way to transport my plants? Well, I mean, you could really do anything. Ziploc bags are probably a really good solution. Just take a big, like, 1 gallon Ziploc bag and you could just jam all the plants in there. You could also do regular plastic baggies. Just make sure they don't have holes in them. And, you know, if there's some way to make sure there's a little bit of moisture in there, maybe like take your hand under the faucet, maybe in the bathroom, and splash some water in there, just a couple drops, and then tie it up real tight, and that'll work. You could use a plastic bucket with a lid. So, like, if you go to, like, the dollar store or Walmart or Target, they have, like, these little containers, or even Home Depot, little storage containers that are, like, yay big, and they come with lids, and you could just use that. As long as they stay humidified and they're not going to dry out, they're fine. So anything that you could do to decrease humidity escaping is good. Naturally Lochi says, I just did a collab with Palmer Aquatics recently on my Dojo Loaches. That's awesome. Dojo Loaches are really cool. I've never had them, but I've always seen them at the pet store, and I was thinking about buying some of them at one point, but they're really cool. I like Loaches. Loaches in general are really cool. Coolie Loaches are my favorite, though. Is fast flow water bad with plants? Really fast flow can lead to algae. However, there are a lot of plants that actually like fast flow, such as Madagascar lace. A lot of Apongitons actually come from fast flowing streams. And also, what else comes from a fast flowing stream? I'm trying to think. There was something else. Can't remember the other plant off the top of my head. But most Apongitons are good. But when it comes to, like, say, Anubis and Java Fern, no, not really. You don't want those super easy, not moving around a whole lot plants in a high flow, because they're just going to develop tons of algae because you have a lot of water flow. But a medium amount of water flow is good. It's about finding the right balance for all your plants. It's Sam, and thank you for the reply. I'm coming from the UK, so it might not be on too long. It's Lee here. Well, that's okay, Lee. I appreciate you checking out the stream. In any case, I imagine it's probably like something like 12 or 1 a.m. there, maybe even later. So I do appreciate you hanging out with us. Mark says, awesome, thank you, new sub. Well, thank you for subscribing. Yeah, we recently got a ton of subscribers on our channel recently. I think we went through, I think like our overall sub count grew by like double this past like month or so, this past like 30 days, which has been really cool. One of our videos, I think, has been winding up on a lot of people's homepages. So that's really cool to see, like, because I saw the view count just spike massively on this video. It gained like 30,000 views in a week, so that was awesome. Much more than the normal, and the channel's growing because of it. Other videos are doing well because of it, so it all works out. I appreciate you guys subscribing if you have, and if you haven't, consider subscribing. Loaches and other animals is what my channel is all about. Nice. That's awesome. Vals don't mind high flow. Yeah, that's true. Vals was what I was thinking of. Vals also don't mind high flow as well. So Sean Gleason says, does new Eco-Complete Substrate compete with plants for nutrients until it becomes more full of nutrients, since it's not... Oh, okay, I get it. Since it's not nutrient... Okay, let me rephrase this whole question, because I butchered it because I didn't like get what he was saying at first. Does new Eco-Complete Substrate compete with plants for nutrients until it becomes more full of nutrients, since it's not really nutrient rich out of the bag, but supposed to suck up and hold nutrients really well. That is a mouthful. So I'm trying to think of how I could put this. Right, so plants, aquatic plants can absorb nutrients either through their roots or through their leaves. Most plants have the method to absorbing nutrients through both. Some are strictly root feeders. Some don't grow any roots at all, so they're all through the leaves. So there's a couple different delivery methods depending on the plants. Now, if you have new Eco-Complete, he's asking, and you have plants in that Eco-Complete, does the Eco-Complete absorb the nutrients before the plants do? And will that, affect the plant growth, basically? That's what he's asking here. And that's because Eco-Complete out of the bag really doesn't have any nutrients whatsoever. So it's a good substrate at absorbing nutrients. So when you dose liquid fertilizer, much like the Vital bottle we have here, when you dose the Vital, it sits in the water column, and then the plants and the substrate will absorb it, depending on the substrate, assuming it's one that's meant to absorb nutrients. So, will it compete? Probably not. Here's the thing. Plants absorb nutrients as they get rooted and are kind of starting to grow more. When you first introduce a plant into the aquarium, it's going to go through like a phase where it's not sure where it's at. It's going to figure out what its new conditions are and then grow accordingly. So typically when you put a new plant, especially if you bury it in the substrate, its first mission is to start sending out roots because it wants to anchor itself there. In the wild, if a new plant was to, like a stem plant was to break off and start flowing through the water and it gets lodged somewhere, it's not going to start growing leaves off the top because it's not anchored yet. It wants to get anchored so it doesn't lose its footing. And to answer your question, it's probably not going to affect it at all. But if you're only maybe putting in like a pump in like a 50-gallon tank where you should be putting maybe 5 of like say our fertilizer, or you're dosing not the recommended dose, yeah, the substrate could be absorbing it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the plants aren't going to use it, because the plants are going to use it once its roots are there and it's going to absorb it. So it's not something that I would really be concerned about. Shrimp Live says, congrats. Well deserved, Justin. Thank you very much, Shrimp Live. Yeah, it's been a good growth the last month or so, so I'm really excited about it. Some of our videos have been doing really well, so I really appreciate it. Like, it's just, it's exciting to see, like, oh, somebody actually found this video helpful, and then it's like, oh man, thousands of people found this video helpful, because YouTube wouldn't be recommending it if they weren't. And it's like a rewarding sense. It's like, okay, I actually made something that was useful to somebody. So that's what I'm trying to do. Like, our main focus right now is, or at least my main focus in video production is education right now. If you've been with us for a while or following the channel for a while, you'll see, a couple months back, I was focused on setting up new builds and showing different things. We're going to get back to that. Honestly, I've just been a little lazy with the holidays, and Nova, my daughter, is getting bigger, and she is more entertaining now. Like, she's running around, well, not running, she's still not walking, she's lazy in that aspect, but she's crawling around everywhere, getting into trouble. So it's just really cute watching her do new things. So it's made me lazy to the point where it's like I look at my aquariums and they're like need a lot of maintenance right now, and I've just been slacking tremendously on it. So I'm going to try to get back to it this week or so. We do have a vacation planned sometime in February, so I'm thinking if I don't get to it now, after the vacation, maybe I'll come back recharged and ready to tackle these projects. It's also cold in this like back room, so it makes me not want to be here. I don't like being cold either, so... but yeah, now our channel is more focused towards education. I'm just trying to get as much information out there as possible, and I've been overthinking videos lately. I've been thinking I really want to like up the production quality, but at the same time, the amount of production quality that it would take to make that video that I want to make, it probably won't do as well as I think it's going to do. And then it's like I spent all this time making something that really isn't it's something that I spent all this time making that I would have had the same results had I just did it the way I've been doing the last couple of videos. So I feel like just kind of ranting over the camera almost is the way to do it. All right, so we got Magic Exchange says, hey man, question, how many root tabs should I dose in my tank? How to calculate that? Any advice? So there's really no set way to calculate it. Here's what I will say. Each root tab will cover anywhere between a 3x3 to a 6x6 area in your aquarium. So let's just say you had a 10-inch by 6-inch aquarium, for instance. I don't know what size that would be, but let's say your tank was 10 inches long by 6 inches wide. So if each root tab took up 3 inches, you would plant one on the 3-inch mark in the back, then you would go over another 3 inches, plant another one, go over another 3 inches, and plant another one. And then same thing in the front to kind of fill up the whole thing. So you'd essentially use 6 root tabs. There may be a little overlap, and that's fine. How often should you put root tabs? That's going to depend on how many plants you have. If you have a lot of plants and they're growing very quickly, so if you have a lot of fast-growing plants, like a lot of stems, a lot of aponjatons, a lot of plants that really like nutrients at the roots, like Amazon swords and stuff like that, I'd say every like 3 months. If you don't have a ton of plants and it's lightly planted, you could go up to every 6 months. Oh, the baby's at the gate. I put up a gate to the back room now because, one, she's crawling around, so I'm afraid she's going to pull down the aquariums. So I gated out this back half of the area so she can't crawl back here. And now she's at the door. Mommy. Hi. Yeah. Hi. Hi. What's up? My Eco Complete came soaked in a bag of liquid ferts. Yeah, and that's the mistake that a lot of people make with Eco Complete is they rinse it and you lose all the ferts that is in there. Are plants able to uptake nitrate? Not that I know of. It's a good question. I've never seen anything that would indicate that it does. But I wouldn't say that I know 100%. But as far as my research, no. Hey, just watched your videos and subscribed. Looking for a red mid-ground plant and small leaves for my aquascape. Any advice? Love the content. Thank you very much, Alexandria. Appreciate the subscription. And as far as a good red mid-ground plant with small leaves for aquascape, well, well, I'll give you two. If you're looking for a stem plant, Ludwigia SP Red or SP Mini, we sell it. I think we actually have a couple downstairs still. It's a smaller leafed Ludwigia. It will grow really quickly, so it will need a lot of trimming. But you could keep trimming it and keeping it short in like a small bush. That's a good option for mid-ground. You could also do a red crypt. We have Crypt Wenditti Red. It's more of a brownish red. Ludwigia is a like really vibrant red or sometimes even purplish. The Crypt Red is a reddish brown. One other one would be a red Tiger Lotus. Red Tiger Lotus, though, will eventually put off long shoots that go to the top of the aquarium because they're a lily-type plant. And what you could do to keep it short and compact for the mid-ground is just continuously trim the taller leaves as they grow up. Trim them off, and that'll train the plant to stay more short and compact. And that would be ideal for you. So those are three good ones. I believe we should have Crypt Reds, we should have Ludwigia SP Red, and Tiger Lotus. I think we may only have 2 left of. They're not on the website, but if you want one, message me. And assuming that they don't get bought, I think I had one other guy that asked last night, but he hasn't. Hey, what happened? Hold on. Nah, I don't know. I just want to make sure the dog didn't attack the baby or something. Alright, let's see. How would you package floating plants like frogbit or giant duckweed? I have priority boxes, styrofoam, heat packs ready, but wasn't sure. Should I ship them with water or no water? So, my method to shipping frogbit, I don't know about giant duckweed. That may be, well, it depends on how you're doing it. But how I ship frogbit and dwarf water lettuce is I get, trying to think of those type of containers. So if anybody knows like how you get like Chinese soup from like a Chinese takeout place, they have those like tubs that are round and they're like this big. So they make smaller ones of them that are about this big, right? They're maybe like an inch or 2 tall, and they're round. So I have those. What I do is I put a damp piece of paper towel at the bottom, and then I put the plants in a, to fill that space in, but I don't stack them on top of each other. Like I don't just pack it. I only lay them out in a single layer. Sometimes the leaves are overlapping, and that's fine. And I make sure the roots are touching the paper towel, but that the top is dry. And then when I put the lid on it, I poke a hole in the lid. So this does a couple things, and this we learned through experience, because when I would ship floating plants in a plastic baggie, at least like dwarf water lettuce, most of the leaves would come melted, and it wasn't, I mean, that plant just has a way of melting its leaves regardless, but it was a way more often than I wanted. So I tried to figure out a better way to ship it, and we came up with that way in the plastic container. And what it does is it makes it so the roots stay wet, and for the most part, the leaves don't really make contact with the top of the lid. And if they do, there's no condensation there for them to get wet and die off. And that was the major problem, because the leaves kept getting wet. And that's because there's the hole in the top to let out the condensation on it. So that's how I've been shipping them. And so far, out of all the ones we've been shipping, and we've been shipping a lot of dwarf water lettuce lately, I think we only had one issue. And that I don't even think was attributed to the packaging. I think it was attributed to the weather. So that's how I would do it. I'd put them in the container, stick them in the box with, I mean, if you're styrofoaming and heat packing to ensure that they don't freeze, that is another method. But yeah, I try not to ship any water whatsoever if we don't have to. And usually, I don't think there's anything we ship with water other than like our fertilizers. SRU Deadman says, new sub here, like your videos. Thank you very much. I appreciate all the positive messages and feedback lately. And I do try and answer people on comments, but I mean, a lot of people are commenting on older videos, and it's hard for me to keep up with everybody. So if you ever do have a direct question and you need to ask me something, feel free to message me on Instagram or Facebook. The link should be in the bottom of the video. You can check me out on there. We answer those messages. Also, emails from the website we try and answer. And usually it's about a day lapse, sometimes a little bit longer. We've been a little bit more busy lately with messages, so sometimes it takes me a little bit to get to it. But we do try and answer. Just reached 40 subs yesterday. I love your videos. Strived for me to set up a planted beta tank. Well, that's awesome. I love to hear that. And congratulations on 40 subs. Believe it or not, that's a great thing. Like, just think about it. You have 40 people that you know, liked your videos enough to subscribe. And while, yeah, it's free, it's still, like, you got 40 people interested in your stuff, so that's cool. That's why, like, the whole sub count doesn't matter to me. Like, we're approaching 19,500, I think we're close to. You know, we're getting, like, 100 or 200 subs a day, and that's great, and I appreciate it, but that's just a number that doesn't matter. It's the fact that people, like, actually subscribe, and that people actually continue to come back and watch. That's what I like. My Anubis and Java fern leaves are curling a bit, but are still green. Is that caused by a deficiency? Yes, I forget what it is. Well, could be. I believe so. There's actually a chart online. If you look up Aquarium Plant deficiency chart, there will be a leaf there will be a diagram that shows curling of the leaf. I forget what it is, but that does sound like a nutrient deficiency if it's like very prevalent. Could be just curling because maybe too much light or something, but. Yeah. T. Riddle, welcome. Chicken Nuggets, welcome. CCAM matrices for Plant Tank, is it good or not? I've never used it. CCAM matrix, is that Purigen? I think is the similar thing, right? If Purigen is similar to matrix, then I would say, or are they different? They might be different. I don't know. That's a good question. I know a lot of people use Purigen, so. Do you use tank water to water the houseplants? You know, I try to, but unfortunately, I have so many houseplants. Like, you guys don't even know. I think I have probably somewhere around 60 to 70 houseplants. And to take my little, I have like this little guy here, or I have a slightly bigger one, and to like fill it up with tank water, it's just so time consuming. I go straight to the faucet for mine. I'd love to use more tank water, but it's just like I have too many plants to like, go over there and figure it out. It's just, yeah. But if I didn't have as many plants as I had, or stuff, I would definitely use tank water. It's way better. Any chance you could help explain to me how to achieve good GH/KH levels with RODI water and CO2? Well, is there a reason, Shane Roberts, that you are trying to reach a certain GH or KH? Let me ask you that first. Is it for shrimp? Is it for a specific plant maybe? And that would help me better understand it. Knowing that some terrestrial mosses can grow underwater, what's the best way to acclimate them to the water, including the temperature? Well, what I would do is I would maybe take like a rock, tie the moss to the rock, fill the water up to just at the below, like where the lowest part of the moss is, and then see what happens. Because the moss, if it likes the water, it's going to grow towards the water, and then it may start to grow under the water. That will probably be the best way to convert it. And then also, you know, make sure that that water doesn't evaporate too much. It's much like the Wabikusa. I actually have to do an update on that. I have a Wabikusa ball that has that that going on where the moss is growing down and into the water. Sorry. What's up, Q Aquatics? Garrett, I'm guessing is how you pronounce this. Hey there, I was wondering what would you recommend for an easy carpeting plant for a low light, 29 gallon. Great videos. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Garrett. Easy carpeting plant. So I'll give you three. Dwarf four-leaf clover is by far my favorite. It's probably one of the most easiest carpeting plants. If you don't like that, another good one is dwarf sedge. Equally as easy, I would say, but doesn't carpet as fast. Four-leaf clover will carpet much faster than dwarf sedge will. And lastly, Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo can be a little finicky sometimes. It can grow under no CO2 with just a decent light. Doesn't need to be super high light, and it is relatively easy. If it does take to your tank, it will grow very quickly. So that's the one good thing about it, is if it does like your tank, it'll just take over. So, oh, I just moved the camera. Those are the three options that I would recommend. Let's see. What are the best plants to have with axolotls? And so I've never kept axolotls. This comes from chicken nuggets, by the way. I've never kept axolotls myself. I do know that they are cold water. And I do know that some have the tendency to try and nibble on plants. So what I would recommend is Anubis, Java ferns, Anacris, maybe a Pongeton, and see what happens with those. If they leave them alone, and I wouldn't get a whole bunch of them, I would get like one of each. Put like, and don't get like Anubis Nana Petite. Get a bigger leaf Anubis, like Anubis barderi or hostifolia. The bigger the leaf, the better, just because they have big mouths. And that way you could see what they grow with. I mean, I've heard that they eat plants. Not all of them eat plants. So you should be, I mean, you're probably better, you're probably going to have more success than not with it. So, but I wouldn't get a whole bunch of plants and dump them all in there and see like what happens. I would only get like a couple and see if your axolotl goes for it. Is it normal for guppy grass to quadruple in size in a month in a nutrient-rich tank? Mine has taken over my 27 gallon in 29 days. Yeah, Frank, guppy grass, and this is actually, we don't carry it anymore because like mine died out, which is surprising. But yeah, guppy grass grows insanely fast when it's going good. But it doesn't, I think the reason why it actually died out because we used an algicide in the tank to try and kill some algae that was in there. And I think it wiped it out. So I actually have to get some more. That's a good plan. I gotta get some more. I got some 10 gallons on a rack that are doing nothing right now. That'd actually be a good plant to toss in there. What low-tech root plant, or what's a low-tech root plant? I want something in to plant into my pool sand. Well, if you're talking about like a rooted plant, I guess Amazon swords are a great place to start. If you want to go with something with color, Kleiner bar swords. Red Reuben swords, these are all really easy swords. The Uruguensis sword, which I did a video on recently, really good plant. They're all low tech and should grow just fine. So they do require nutrients though, so if you have pool sand, make sure you add in root tabs. Or maybe your pool sand is capping soil or something, which would be good. Can you grow a micro sword carpet in Eco Complete with a 24/7 Phoenix light? Depends on the size of the tank. That's really going to depend on the size of the tank. You can grow without CO2. I just don't know how quickly it's going to grow without CO2. Would Amazon swords grow in an immersed form in a ventilated paludarium, or do they need extremely high humidity? I would say they're probably going to need at least 50% or more humidity, probably, to grow immersed. if you have, I'm trying to think, if you have like any sort of wet area, I mean, you could try planting them there and see what they do. It's always worth an experiment because you know, the thing about aquariums and paludariums and all these things is like they are so specific. Like, yeah, you know, maybe there isn't a whole lot of humidity in that paludarium. Oh, is she all right? Okay. The thing about that is like, oh, okay. Is she done crying? Like maybe there isn't a lot of humidity, but then maybe again you don't have a super bright light that would cause it to dry out. So it's possible. It's definitely possible. I would like try one. I wouldn't go crazy and get a bunch, but if you wanted to, try one and see what it does. How much does Frogbit run on your website? I think $10. Gage, I think, Everman is how you say this. This is my second time ordering plants from you guys and really love plants in my tank. Awesome, Gage. I appreciate the order, appreciate the business, and what you watching our videos. What level of light do you think will make Rotala, Ernie, and Walichi go to their highlight form? I have them in CO2 and a Phoenix Future with the T5, only plants in my tank not turning red. If you want them like super bright red and like that full, you need a lot of light. Depending on the size of the tank, though, I'm surprised that you don't have enough. The T5, I mean, unless it's a huge tank, should do it. I'm just new to RODI water. Okay. So Shane had asked earlier about RODI. Oh, okay, hold on. He continues here. I'm new to RODI, looking to keep shrimp and grow highlight plants. Just unsure of the levels needed for something. Okay. Well, so I'll be honest with the GH and KH things. So I have my blue ball tank. What I do is I just kind of top off the tank. I don't do water changes on it. I top it off as it needs, and I use salty shrimp to remineralize it to the right GH. I forget exactly what they're at. I have it written down somewhere over there, but and then I have a or not a TDS, not a GH and KH. The G, did we test it? I don't think we tested it. I just tested the TDS and it came out to be fine and it worked. But I use an electronic TDS meter that's really good by Hanna Instruments. And so as far as like balancing it out, if you're doing hard to keep shrimp, I don't suggest starting with them. But if you're going to try that, just double check what they require and then use remineralizer to get there. And just try and always check and make sure that it's staying constant if you do water changes, because that can be tricky. You don't want too many fluctuations, and that's the thing. When you do huge water changes and you take out water and replenish it, you can mess up the levels, and huge fluctuations really can like dip and come back up, and it really messes up things. What's the best method to clean a fluval substrate? I forgot the name. It's black little pebbles. Are you talking about Seachem, or not Seachem? Fluval, what's it called? Fluval stratum? If it's a planted tank substrate and it's in little tiny round balls that are almost smooth, you shouldn't clean it at all. Just put it in there typically. Famous Jones is here. What's up, buddy? What plants do you have for a highlight? I bought a Fluval 3.0 for $55. I got a couple of plants. What do I have? I got the Nifa TD's Taiwan, which, I mean, it could be a low light plant too, but it's really cool highlight plant. I got some Rotalas. What else? I'm trying to think. What do we have on the website? I do have a couple of plants if you want from my own personal tank that I need to trim up. I got some special Rotalas and a couple other things. If you want to just message me. Hey, in your experience, how to kill and prevent BBA in a planted tank with no CO2? Well, in order to kill it, you would want to either use a syringe with hydrogen peroxide or Flourish Excel. And what you want to do is you want to shut off your filter so there's no water movement, and any sort of power heads or wave makers, shut them completely off. Take that syringe filled with it and just very lightly spot check all the areas that you see it growing at. And very little. I had somebody recently, a couple months back, I told him, yeah, do a syringe, you know, and inject the hydrogen peroxide, and I believe they just dumped the whole bottle of hydrogen peroxide in their tank and, like, wiped out everything. Not good. Don't do that. Very minimal amounts. All you need to do is spray just the tiniest amount on where the algae is, and it'll start attacking it. You want to leave your filter off for about 15 minutes while it goes to work. Then you turn your filter back on. Do this every day until you notice that it starts to turn gray, at which point it'll either die naturally, get eaten by fish or shrimp if you have any, and then or you can remove it by hand much easier typically. Now, if it's infested, you have areas, which I'm actually going to do on a video because my 75 has tons of blackbeard algae right now, so I have to get rid of that. I'm going to show you guys how. If you have anything that's completely covered, it's not worth saving. Cut out everything that's infected, toss it, and just replant whatever's left, if anything. And then how to prevent BBA. BBA just kind of happens. It's usually from a couple different things, either lack of CO2, too much CO2, high organics, not enough organics, or too much flow or not enough flow. So those are really things that you have to balance and try and figure out. But the more plants you have, the less BBA is going to grow. So just have more and more plants in there, and that will limit any algae from growing, really. The more plants you have, the better it is. Angelic says, I have a lot of questions. Well, I got another 22 minutes, so keep them coming. We got a bunch of questions here. Holy crap. All right. Let's see. I have some Rotala indica that wants to grow sideways and is sprouting roots from the middle. Is that an indicator of a light issue or something else? That means it probably just has too much light. Typically, when plants that would grow normally vertically wants to grow horizontally, that's because they're getting too much light and they're trying to actually get away from it. But what you could easily do is just continuously chop it, like any of them that are growing sideways, and then new shoots should shoot up going straight up. And if those start to fold over, cut them the same. Or just raise your light or dim it if you have the ability to dim it. What is a good cheap light for a 10-gallon planted aquarium lily masks? Grab the Asta 20 light. I really like that one. Or the Night Crew light. Just make sure the Night Crew has the red, blue, and green LEDs. Those are both really cheap LED lights that I like. Danny says, thanks, sub. Appreciate the sub. Chicken Nugget says, I've seen some videos on people getting lawn grass, I don't know what kind, to grow underwater. Is that possible, or are those videos fake? That's a good question. See, a lot of plants, you could submerge them, and they'll be fine for like a week or two, maybe a month. Some plants that, you know, you submerge, I've had a couple people comment on my pothos video and say, what are you talking about? I have it growing submerged. I'm like, well, that's news to me because I've never seen it growing submerged long term. It could grow submerged for a couple months, but after a while it's going to die back. But lawn grass, I wouldn't use plants from your lawn. You don't know if it's been treated with chemicals. A lot of people put chemicals on their lawn. I know because I do. And that wouldn't be good to introduce into your aquarium. Plants for shrimp tanks. The substrate is inert since the shrimp are neocaridina. Danny, any kind of moss balls are excellent. Water Sprite lace, really good one. What else? I'm trying to think. Monte Carlo is another good one, but you probably want a better substrate for that one, so I wouldn't suggest that actually. Anubis, Java ferns, Crips you could do. Yeah, that's quite a few. You ever get the feeling when you forget you're watching a live stream? Not a love stream, live stream. Yeah, no. Shane Roberts says, thanks for the help. You're welcome. What's up, Austin? Yeah, everything's been good. How's it going, buddy? Yes, fluval stratum. Yeah, fluval stratum, I don't believe you have to wash at all. Double check the label, but I don't think you have to wash it. I wash it. I've never used it. What plans do you have for a pond a tub? I set up a 27-gallon tub outside with white cloud minnows. Top of water is currently icy. I still see movement under the ice. Oh, nice. Any of the Aponjatons would do good, although they probably won't overwinter, so you'll have to take them out every year. We will have pond plants in March, though, if you want to definitely grab some like immersed stuff to grow up out of it. We'll have some in March. And so Aponjatons, lilies, Java fern, Anubis, hornwort. Hornwort would actually be a really good one. Water sprite, lace would be a good one. And yeah. What are some good, easy blackwater plants? I would just go straight Anubis and Java ferns. They don't need a whole lot of light. They're going to look good in a blackwater tank, and that'll be good. What's wrong? She's mad. She can't come over here. Is it possible to make a dirted aquarium without a cap, like sand, gravel, tile, etc.? I'm not sure, although I wouldn't bother with dirted tanks, honestly. Like, yeah, it will cost more to get aqua soil, but it's going to be better. It's better in every aspect. Mind if I get in on some of those highlight plants from your personal collection, trying to find some other rare species? Yeah, shoot me a message. I don't have a lot right now. And some of the plants have BBA, so I can't sell all of them to you. But there's a couple that don't have any BBA that I could probably easily trim up and sell to you. You sound like a car over there. What are you doing? Have a ton of baby Java ferns. What's the best way to grow them out? If they're on the leaf of the Java fern, the parent Java fern, just leave them be. Don't move them. Give them some time and they'll grow out. If they're already off of it, just plant them and don't touch them. Java ferns and Anubis, once planted, don't disrupt them. They don't like that. Mr. Amazing AC says, hey, for Amazon swords, when they send out the vertical stem with the little buds on it, do I keep that underwater? Is that how it propagates, or will it throw more horizontal runners? So the stay, they'll come up, and sometimes it'll breach the water, sometimes it won't. If it's already breached the surface, let's say, and it has like a thing of flowers growing, just leave that, or a baby plant, just leave that. It's already out of the water, it's fine. If it's under the water, and you want to like have it produce a lot of babies, try and curve it so that way it doesn't breach the surface. Because typically once it breaches the surface, it's going to produce flowers and not baby plants. And you may not want the flowers, you may want the baby plants. So just try and keep it underwater as much as possible. But if it's already breached, leave it be, let it continue to grow, do its thing. And then once it's done growing, you cut off the baby plants, replant them, and boom, there you go. My Fluval 3.0 caused a lot of BBA when I first put it on. My 4-leaf clover from you are completely covered. I cut as much of as I can. Yeah, so the light too can affect the BBA as well sometimes. It really depends, but that sucks. I mean, but if you even if you cut the leaves on the 4-leaf clover, if it still has the rhizome underneath, it should be fine. It'll probably come back. Is the Fluval 3.0 plant nanolight good for a low-tech 25-gallon cube? I don't know if I would use that on a cube, the 25-gallon. Do they even make one big enough for that? Or small enough? Because I think they may all be too big. But the Fluval lights that's all we use downstairs is the 2.0s. They're really good. I like the ability to dim them. The 3.0s, I'm not liking the par rating. They're a little bit weaker, but they're still a good light, so... Cedarman says, I'm new here, but do you have any tips on getting a scholarship? Well, that's a very off question, but as far as getting a scholarship, I don't know what you're trying to get a scholarship to. Personally, I never went to college, so I may be the worst person to ask, but there's a lot of scholarship programs out there that I know, like, that are just unclaimed, so definitely look into them, and the more you apply for, the more you're going to get. So I would do everything possible. If you need scholarships, and apply to as many as possible, there's no harm. The more you get, the better you're going to be. So, how will red roof floaters do in a low light setup? Fine. Just don't let the tops get wet, and they'll be completely fine. I have that light on a 10-gallon and might have not have enough light spread for that something larger. I don't know. Let's see. And refer to Danny. Oh, okay. Wait, is there... Oh, the 3.0 nano light, not the 3.0 straight light. I apologize. That's why I was like, the nano threw me off. The nano lights are the small ones. That might not be all right. If T says that they have it. I would try also the Asta 120 light. That would probably be good. Flute says, great news for me for ponds. The floaters didn't overwinter inside, so starting scratch again, and they will be breeding Danios this year. March is perfect timing for me. Yeah. So yeah, March. We're only gonna have pond plants from March till I think May. We're only gonna do it for 2 months. So sometime in March, all the way. Like we'll do it for two months straight, and then after that, we won't have pond plants until next March. So I hear the Nano Aquarius. She sounds so cute. Yeah, she's over here wanting to get in, but the gate is up. What qualifies an aquarium as low tech or high tech? In my definition, and the definition varies from who you're going to ask, but in my definition, a high tech aquarium only consists of the difference. Well, okay, so a low tech and a high tech. A low tech planted tank and a high tech planted tank can have a high light. The difference is if it's low tech, you're going to keep it dimmer. Now, if it's a high light aquarium and you have CO2, then it's a high tech tank. But the CO2 is the deciding factor, because most lights you'll be able to either dim or adjust so they can keep low light plants. Tim says, hi from Australia. What is a good way to keep plants and some suitable plants and suitable types of plants in 5mm gravel substrate with quarries? And I don't know what that word is. Faux sickening type of fish. I don't know if that was a mistype. So a good way to keep plants with like cords, I imagine you're talking about stuff that digs up the substrate, uproots the plants. So plant anchors are a good way to keep them rooted. If you use these little pots here, so what you could actually do, okay, so what you could actually do is, really? Can I talk? Yeah? Okay. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. Hold on. We got 10 minutes left. Hold on. Come here. Come here. You want in? You want in? Okay, you get it. She wants it. Okay. There you go. Alright. Say hi, can you say hi? Say hi. Hi. You gonna say hi? Say hi? No? Okay. Well, in any case, as far as your question goes, so you could use little planters like this, and actually, so you take the rock wool out of here, you could fill this with substrate and put the plant back in here, and then bury this, and this will help keep it rooted a little bit better, because it'll be like stuffed in something that can't just easily come out. Another way is to wedge it in between stuff. You could also make a planter out of the top of a water bottle, drill a hole in the top of a water bottle, and then pull the plant roots through that and plant it down. What? I'm right here. Can we pull down your shirt? Okay. What? Yeah, hi. I don't think they can see you. Can they see you? Okay. Yeah, there we go. And then what type of suitable plants for that? Any plants will work. You'll definitely want to use some sort of root tabs though, because the gravel isn't ideal for plants. But yeah. Let's see. Oh God, there's a lot of questions here. Let's power through these. What do you think? How do you get rid of snail infestations? William, I actually did a video on this. You could go through our library. It's probably about a year old now, and we have lots of videos on that. We also I'm gonna be doing a video on a snail trap that I got from Amazon that I think is really good. Heading out. Thanks for all the answers. Love the plants I get from you. Thank you so much, Josh. I've got a net in here or something. Is a Flivel 3.0 considered a highlight on a 54 high tank? I would not say so. That's a big tank, probably. It's probably medium light. wow, she has grown up so much since I last saw her. Yeah, she's getting pretty big. Right? Okay. Also, just wondering, do plants on your website come free of Hitchhikers? No, Danny. So we actually have a disclaimer on every single group page for the plants. We cannot guarantee that they won't be snail free. We do include a link, though, to a good video that was done by somebody here on YouTube that can show you how to do like dips to try and cut down on Hitchhikers. So I do recommend checking that out. What? Hi. I know on Palmer Aquatic's channel as... Oh, okay. Nice. Just want to say thank you for all the great information you share with us free of charge. You're welcome. I'm glad you're hanging out and having fun. Alright, guys. I think that's everything. Did we touch on everything? Did we get everybody? What? Where you going? Okay. You're gonna fall down. Where are you trying to go? Okay. Alright. My Flute 3.0 is acting like a highlight. What's the amount of BBA? Some plants love it. I crystal liquidosing. What? Don't grab me. Why are you grabbing me? Because I moved your hair? She's getting into this biting phase now where she's biting Margaret. She doesn't tend to bite me, but she bites Margaret. You bite your mommy? What? Is that you? Say hi. Can you say hi? Hi. No, you don't want to say hi. No. Where do you ship from? I ship from Staten Island, New York. We're located in New Jersey, but I typically ship out when I go to work, and I work in Staten Island, so I ship them from the Staten Island Post Office in New York City. I've always been a T5 user, but I keep What? What's wrong? I've always been a T5 user, but I keep looking at LED, but I can't drop 150 per light on my new build. That 30-inch T by 5 foot long. I need at least 3 lights. Any ideas for cheaper LED? Go with floodlights. I have her. She wanted to be on the live stream. Say what, mommy? I'm famous. Hi. Say, mommy, I'm internet famous. Right? Oh, now you want her? Now she wants you. She wasn't paying attention to you, and now she wants you. Yeah, I would go with floodlights, Andrew, if you're trying for like a cheap alternative. Listen, they're not going to be the prettiest setup. They're not going to be, you know, the nicest looking, but they're relatively inexpensive. You could probably get enough of them to do everything you need for a relatively cheap price. Have a couple swords growing in gravel, planning on redoing the tank and adding aqua soil. Will disturbing the swords make them melt? They may melt a little bit just because you're adding in aqua soil, so that's going to be different changes in the water chemistry, so they may not be ideally useful to it, so or used to it, so yeah. Thanks for the info. Love your videos. Thank you so much, Tim G, for hanging out. What's your favorite aquarium plant to use? Anubis Dana Petit or Dwarf Four-Leaf Clover or Monte Carlo. Those are like my top 3. Is there such thing as too much oxygen for aquatic animals or too much carbon dioxide for plants, algae? Well, so carbon dioxide you don't want too much of because that will actually gas your fish and stuff. Lots of oxygen is completely fine. And you know, having a lot of oxygen is never a bad thing. And just having a decent amount of carbon dioxide in the water is a good thing. She's so cute. Thank you, Candace. Appreciate it. She's growing up very quickly. Her first birthday is coming up here very soon. It's in 2 weeks. We're actually going away for her birthday. We're going to Puerto Rico. So, instead of doing a first birthday party, we decided we haven't gone on a vacation in 2 years. And it's her and Hector's birthday, or Hector's birthday is, what is his birthday? His birthday is 11 days later. So for their birthdays, we said, you know what, we're going to take you both to Puerto Rico and have some fun. So any advice on how to get rid of green spot algae on the glass with bright light tanks? Narite snails. Get like 2 or 3 narite snails, throw them in there, you'll never have to worry about it again. Thanks for all the great help. Have a good night. Thank you, T, for hanging out. Do you have any recommendations for a light timer? Yes. Go on Amazon, type in Wi-Fi power outlet, and make sure mine that I have. Hold on, mine that I have is it's called like Ancho or something. I can't read the name from here. Ancho, I think. Hold on, I'm gonna find it for you real quick, and then I'm gonna have to split out of here. But this is, I'm actually gonna do a video on this because it's such a good like, it's such a good thing. I have 4 of them in the house. They control some of the lights, and they also control my whatchamacallit, my kitty litter. I have an automatic cat litter thing, but it doesn't have a timer built in, so I actually had to get a timer. And I like it because you could set up you could set up times to have it go on, but you could also Wi-Fi control it also. No, that's not it. Hold on. Can't seem to find it here. Where is it? Why can't I find this? Maybe it's smart plug. Smart plug. No. Hold on. Now I'm determined to find this. Wi-Fi outlet. So I'll say I bought one kind like one point that is really good. That's the one that I like. I bought a second kind after that because I wanted something a bit more compact, but for some reason it just did not work for me. And now I can't seem to find this at all. Yeah, I can't find this. They don't even have it when I type in Wi-Fi outlet. It doesn't even come up. Hold on. Let me get the name. It's on the damn thing. Hold on. I think I know how to look it up here. Let's see. Neo. There we go. Okay. Okay, so, holy crap, we got a lot of questions. Alright, so there is the link, that is an Amazon affiliate link, just so you know. If you click on that, it does help us, but it will link you to what I use for my Wi-Fi timers. Works great. It's like 18 bucks. Now, I will say, you can probably find other ones that you get a 4-pack for a little bit cheaper per device, if that's a way that you want to go do with that, but yeah. I know. Do you sell Pogostemon erectus? I have had luck on trying. I don't have any at the moment. I will be getting more rarer plants in the spring because I just don't want to order from people right now or like buy from hobbyists because it's too cold out and they'll freeze probably because a lot of hobbyists don't have heat packs and stuff. Well, fortunately, we ship and it's funny, the other day I spent $800 on heat packs. I nearly like lost my mind. I'm like, how am I spending $800 right now on heat packs? But it's business expense. We need it. But yeah, so I'm gonna I'm waiting until spring to order rarer plants. Any other loaches, or any others? I have loaches that have eaten my snails before. Have they eaten Nerite snails? Nerite snails are typically bigger and harder for them to eat, unless they're big loaches. In that case, you could try autosynclus catfish, or just dim your light maybe. Don't forget that like button, folks. Thank you. I appreciate that. It wasn't too. I need half a dozen Poco Erectus. Do you have them in stock? Nah, not at the moment. Alright. I think that's about it. That's all the question, guys. And thank you so much for hanging out. If you're new here, consider subscribing. If you enjoyed the live stream, hit that like button. We do this every other Wednesday at 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Oop, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, somewhere. Either I start at 7 or I start at 8 lately. I've been starting at 7. But yeah, guys, I'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out. If you have any additional questions, I see some other questions coming in here, just shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook, or on our website through our email. Whatever you want to do, you can contact us through there, and I'll hopefully be able to answer your questions. I'll see you in 2 Wednesdays. Oh, I completely messed up the light. There we go. All right. I'll see you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you next time.